and welcome to this week's 10-minute book review. I'm 10. So this week's book review is going to be on The Disasters by M.K. England. If you watched the 10-min check-in from last week, I did an unboxing, and this was the book in my Spearcraft book box. So I had other books to read, but this was a YA and a sci-fi, and I love them both. So if I find a book that has them both together, that's going to be what I read first. So to get into it, we usually give our books a star grade, like how many stars out of 10 will we give it, and also a rating, like if it was a movie, what would it be rated. For this book, I wanted it to be a 10, but it's going to be an 8 only because there's so much cursing in the beginning of it. I felt like it was gratuitous. That was completely overdone. It was... I feel like some of the language was there just for the purpose of being able to say that the words were said. But the plot, the characters, the direction, the ending, I loved the book. So if it wasn't for the language, this would definitely be a 10. For a rating, if the language could be cut down in the beginning, because it does teeter off. I would say the first chapters. I would say maybe the first 3 chapters, first 3 chapters has it, and then it kind of teeters off. Let's go 4 chapters. So if that could be cut down a little bit, I would say this would be PG-13. There's nothing really salacious in it. There's no sex scenes or anything like that. There's one kiss, so I don't think that's too much. So yes, PG-13 and 8 stars. So to get into the review, the main players in this book are Nasir, who is, when I see him in my head, I see him as Iranian and African American because how he's described. So maybe Iranian mother, African American dad, and he's called Nax for short. Now it's interesting because I am African American. I grew up around a bunch of African Americans, still around, a bunch of African Americans. Quite a few of them are Muslim, so I know a lot of Nasirs. Nasir here is kind of like how Brooke or Reagan would be for other people. There's a lot of Nasirs here. It's a common name. I've never heard a Nasir be called Nax, though. Nas, know a lot of Nas's, or Sears, but no Naxes. Like, what up, Nas? Good looking Seer, but no Naxes. So that was interesting. That was the first time I ever heard Nax for Nasir. Maybe it's, I don't know. But then it's also Ryan, who is from England, and Z, who is Russian, and Case from New York. She's Spanish from New York. So they're all at the academy together. They all flunk out for different reasons. They all meet up on a shuttle going back to Earth. Now, this is set in the future, about 300 years. I think about 300 years in the future, where Earth has gone out colonizing other planets. So there's Earth, there's the space station, and then there are other planets in the solar system where humans live on colonies. And people join the academy, usually younger people join the academy, for the purpose of being sent to one of these colonies. So they know that there's a no return policy. Like, once you go to the academy, once you're accepted, you're not going back home unless for like winter break if you're a pilot or something like that. But once you graduate, you're gone. There's a no return rule. Like, once you're out, you're gone. So these kids are getting back onto the Earth shuttle, and everybody knows since they're coming back, you failed. Everybody knows. Oh, you're here, you're back, you failed. So there's no hiding that. Nax tries to make conversation. He's kind of a conversationalist, and everybody's like, screw off, piss off, don't talk to me, what have you. There's some kind of a terrorist attack while they're on the shuttle, and they hear a message saying like, oh, venting atmo or atmosphere, and so the shuttle is about to lose atmosphere. Like, not the shuttle, the space station is about to lose atmosphere, and so they fight off some of the terrorists, and they're able to get onto a escape pod, kind of a shuttle, and they escape, but everyone in the on the space station dies. They suffocate, basically. When they're escaping, they think help is coming, but instead of help coming, there's someone called Tiger Squad who's coming to kill them. Now, Tiger Squad works for the government, so I guess they're like, oh my god, they think we did this and we didn't and we gotta go. So they speed away, and they end up on a planet, well, on a colony, I should say, called Salem. Or Salam. I'm calling it Salem, but because that's what I'm used to saying, but I think it's supposed... It could be Salam, because it has a heavy Muslim influence. So it could be Salam. But yeah, so they end up on a colony planet called Salam, and they find out that everyone is accusing them of being the terrorists, but they did nothing but survive the terror attack. They meet up with a girl named Azra who helps to rescue them, but in return she wants them to help her get off planet because she doesn't want to be there anymore. Her stepfather is a kind of a drug lord, kind of a mobster, and he has his fingers in everything, and she wants to get off world permanently. So they devise a plan to steal a ship. Case, like an idiot, goes to the Earth Embassy thinking someone's gonna help you, but this is, I love the book, but this is the part that sounds unbelievable to me. Like, you're a person of color. A person of color already knows that the police are going to say you did it. So why would you go to the embassy saying, wait, no, we didn't do it, I have proof? No, you're a person of color. You already know that part kind of, I would have expected Z, who was Russian, to do something like that. But because I guess from an African American's perspective, we're always just accused of being the ones who did it, even if we didn't do it. I don't know. I don't know what Case was thinking, but if she's supposed to be from New York and she's a person of color, she should have known better than to be like, yeah, I'll go to the police and tell. No, you better sit still and figure something else out with everybody else. But anyway, yeah, she goes to the embassy. Of course she gets arrested. Of course they break her out. I don't like Case. She's my least favorite character. Z is my favorite, but Case is my least favorite character. So yeah, of course they break her out and they devise a plan to steal a ship to get off world. The ship turns out to belong to Azra's stepfather, and apparently Azra's stepfather and her brother are part of a group called Earth First, which didn't want anyone to colonize planets outside of, didn't want anyone to leave Earth. And so they're the terrorist group who's responsible for the attack on the academy, and they're planning on another attack that's going to affect all of the known colonies. So something I like that the author did that I really appreciated. So Nax, I'm saying Naz, but Nax is bi. He's bisexual. Ryan is gay. Z is trans. Case is hetero. None of those things are the biggest thing about the characters. That's something that I love. Like, she touches on their sexualities really through their thoughts. Nax mentions that he's bi to Case when Case kisses him. And she's like, oh, wait, I know you and Ryan. Like, no, I'm bi, so there's no problem. But before he mentions that, you can tell that he has affections for both sexes just by the way that he responds to Ryan and Case. And it's nothing sexual. So it's not like, anyone's doing anything, but it's just his thoughts, the way he's looking at the both of them. But these are spurts. These thoughts are spurts. Because think about it, they're in like a dire situation. So he's not thinking like, oh, I'm going to sleep with her. Oh, I'm going to sleep with her. No. He just notices like, oh, she's really cute. Oh, he's really cute. But they're focused. It's not the biggest thing about him. And Z, with Z being trans, you don't even know that Z is trans until maybe towards the middle of the book, when she mentions why she wasn't able to get into the academy because she said that her papers had to match her ID and her paper had to match, and her paper, and of course they didn't, because her sexual identity was one thing and her physical sex on her birth certificate was something else. That wasn't the biggest thing about Z. Z loved soccer. I hate soccer, but Z loved soccer. Z had dry wit. Z was a paramedic, so Z knew how to do things medically. Like, Z had a lot of things going on for her aside from her being trans. With Ryan, you don't really know that he's gay. He alludes to it at one point, but then that's it. There's nothing else about it, you know? And then Case is hetero. I believe Case is hetero because she has a crush on Nax. But with all that being said, none of that was the biggest part of the character. Like with Nax, yes, he was bi, but he also was a pilot. He's funny. He likes to take the lead. He's good in bad situations. He can cook somewhat edible food. You know, it wasn't the biggest thing about them. So I appreciate that the author didn't... How should I put this? Who someone is bigger than who it is they sleep with. Someone's identity, yes, that is one part of their identity, but that is the smallest part of their identity. Your identity is based upon who you are, not who it is you are with, if that makes sense. Like, you're not Mrs. So-and-so. You are what you choose to be. A cook, an author, a painter, a teacher, a doctor, a lawyer, a bus driver, a janitor. You know, you decide what it is you are, and that has absolutely nothing to do with who it is you choose to be with. And so I love that the author didn't try to put sexuality first in this book. Like, when you read what it's about, it doesn't say, oh, and bisexual Nas. No. Because nobody introduces himself like that. Nobody. So I appreciate that, because there are some books that are written, what is it, Girls of Paper and Fire? There are some books that are written that's the selling point. Like, there's a lesbian romance, there's a gay romance, the head person is bi. Like, no, that doesn't make me want to read it. Like, I'm not reading the book to try to find out about sex. Like, I know how sex works. I'm not trying to figure out that. I'm reading the book for the story. Like, what are the characters doing? What is the purpose of this book? What is the plot of this book? Who are these characters? Why are they special? And I think the author, M.K. England, did a really good job of bringing that out. So, this has been the review for... Oh, just to let you know, it is a happy ending. And if the author is by any chance watching this, please make a sequel. I won't even think of it as a sequel. I'll think of it as a second movie. Because reading this book, it reminded me of movies from the 80s. I'm too young to actually have seen any movies in the 80s. But I have seen the reruns of movies in the 80s. And so I know that they are epic. So this made me feel like it was epic. I can definitely see why they had the Breakfast Club stickers and the card with the different people from different space genres in it. It did match this book. So I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to seeing what else she has to write. I believe she said in her bio this is her debut novel. So I'm looking forward to seeing what else she has to write. Please tune in for our next review. That's going to be next Monday. And also for the 10-min check-ins that we do throughout the week. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. And, you know, oh, I forgot to tell you whose voices I heard when I read this book. So, I know Nas is black, but I heard Tom Holland's voice in my head when I read for him. I don't know why. And for for Ryan, I heard Idris Elba. For the two girls, I didn't really hear any particular voice, but like I said, Z is my favorite. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and we hope to see you next week. Bye!